Well, it's been a month. My batteries have arrived and I've been using the bike extensively. I love it. But when the batteries came, I found they did fit into the bag, but they filled it up completely and there was no room for the controller. So I ended up using another bag, a second bicycle bag that attaches to my seat stem, and put the controller in there. The wires for the controller kind of flow between the battery bag, the controller, and the stem of the bicycle, the way things are wired up. It's a fairly tidy situation. There are a lot of wires here, and I am a little worried about how robust that rat's nest of wires is, but I haven't had any trouble with it, and I've been using it extensively.
Now here you can see the general arrangement of all of the wires and connectors going into that controller area. The controller itself is in the bottom of that bag and you can't really see it. I put a little cardboard barrier on top of it, and that's that little gray-black surface you can see. I also carefully labeled all of the individual connectors so that the male and female halves had matching labels. We see A and B on those connectors. And I was careful to make notes of the colors arranged on the wires. It turned out it was wired correctly as shipped, and I didn't have to change anything. But some of the color matchups were not exact, and so I think in the future I'm going to take a lot of comfort in having the careful notes that I put in the book. The connectors themselves are fairly robust and haven't given me any trouble.
So far, so good. Now, the first time I connected up the power, I was a little bit dismayed to find the noise it makes. It draws quite a spark. I thought maybe I'd broken something, but that is normal. There must be a storage capacitor in the controller that absorbs a lot of that energy to smooth out power.
Don't be too worried if yours makes a big spark like that. As long as everything else is working okay, your kit may be like mine and may have a big energy storage capacitor that will make a spark like that. Now, when the bicycle's not in use or when I've got it parked, just for safety, I like to disconnect that wire and it leaves everything turned off, resulting in a nice, neat arrangement in which I can have some confidence.
I also found this button to be somewhat counterintuitive. This is a safety lockout, and when it's in, the motor is disabled. When it's out, the motor is enabled. So if I lift up the bike and give it a little throttle, you can see the wheel spins as I press this thumb button down. But if I have the safety button pressed in like that, nothing happens. To me that's a little backwards, but that's okay. Now these lights, they tell me how full they tell me the status of my battery charging. They're labeled full, half, and empty. And I find that they're really only accurate under load. When I'm moving, if my battery is low, this one will go out. And about halfway through, this one's still glowing. When it's off and under no load, they're not so accurate.
Please join us over at AskMisterWizard.com to see what it's like to ride this bike. It's pretty exciting. There's some more video clips there, as well as advertisements from vendors that will help you buy the right kinds of batteries and connectors and bicycles and motors. It's useful. You can also use it to find the other clips in an orderly fashion. Thanks. We appreciate your support.